My. What a time to be alive, I must say. It is Tameka Bryant, your favorite international auntie. I'm laughing because I was on live on YouTube doing the announcements for today's show for the book naming contest. And I did all of that taping and was on live and made the announcements. And when I went to make sure everything was there, I don't see anything. So I am here now taping, um, having to retape what I just went through. So I just love technology and fooling with it. Not, I'm your non-techie auntie at the same time. But all jokes aside, I now have to just write them down and I'll share some screenshots of the tool I used in order to choose our three finalists for the naming of the book and then our top um, grand prize winner. What crazy thing that just happened on YouTube as I was live doing that. But our three winners for protecting their last names, if you're in our group, you know who they are. And if we didn't have mm, like two of the same first names of anyone. So once I give those top three names, are Victoria. I think you were the only Victoria with the last name R, just in case. Cassie P and Sir Crystal are the three winners out of that bunch that were submitted, and then we had to do a raffle. And then we have the grand prize winner who was selected, which is Keo A. And so those are our top four winners. And of course, everyone received an email if you participated and gotten the initial access to the book. I'm really excited about putting that book. It brought me back through so much that I went through, and part of the reason why I wanted to make sure it got out this year is because there are going to be a lot of people who read or who are in the same situation I was in when I started my real estate career. So for those who don't know, I did not plan on selling real estate in the market where I actually came in and crushed it. And what I mean by crushing it is I quickly got into the top 1% of real estate agents in a market that I did not grow up in. I didn't know much about. I was a transplant. I wasn't even here in the market, in the Kansas City market for real estate. I was here to do something else from another career. And so, having now looking back when I started putting this book together, because as going around and talking to people even now, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't get real estate under my belt. Brokers are not teaching me this, association. There's so much going on, so much foolery, so much crap. And I'm still looking around and going, with all the technology, all the tools and everything that people have, why are people not crushing it? Like, what is going on? Got into a market where I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a circle of influence. I was terminated. My husband and I were terminated on the same day and still managed to get to the top 1% of sales. And at this point, still have closed more than 3,800 real estate transactions. And at first, I didn't think much about it until I started like counting and really paying attention. And I'm looking around and I'm like, people are not closing 100 transactions in their real estate career, let alone through more than 3,000. And I'm still closing. And so I started looking at, okay, let's put the brakes on some stuff because once we got grounded in all the stuff that's happening, I'm like, I wasn't closing that when the market was at its best. I entered a market that it was oversaturated with real estate agents. This was during the 2008 crash was some of my best years, so people were like, well, what did you do? So I decided to sit down, put this book together because I realized there are lots of people, lots of real estate agents who are in the market right now and experiencing a lot of the same crazy and anxiety and all of those things that are happening. And this year was like one of the first years, this last year, I'm still closing. And I want people to understand it and put this and hear this. I'm still closing and I'm not a member of any real estate association. Okay. I'm not a member of any MLS and I'm still closing real estate because of those tools that and the way I did business back then. So back then, for in the first, 10 years of my real estate career, I had closed the majority of those transactions. So something like 2,500 transactions in that first 10 years. And so I went back and I was like, well, what was I doing? So I'm cleaning out things right now and I'm finding all of the different types of contracts and the way I was putting deals together and the types of clients I was working with, and it wasn't traditional. And so, as I'm putting and launching this book, not only did I put my top 8 things that I did for those transactions, I'm now finding other things that I was doing in the midst of that. And I'm creating these other little side trainings and things like that because I want it to come all out, but it's taking me going through, cleaning through files and pulling things and going, oh my gosh, I did that in 2017. Like, how did I wind up? How did I even think to make that happen? How did I think to make that work? So, I'm so excited to bring the book, and then after we launch this book and we have our it gets on Amazon and we do all the book launch and all that kind of stuff. It's really going to the workshops I'm creating around this book that I'm focusing on different cities. So I'm looking at what cities have different issues and how I can show up in those cities, whether it's online or in person, and kind of help that group of agents. And then the broader group. And then also this has really turned me on, turned my engine on because I'm going, now let's take this up another level because now let me get a couple of brand new agents in the Kansas City market and teach them the old things, but now let's ramp it up and add all of the social aspects, right? All of the technology, all the AI, all the things. Like, what other things can we add that then makes them go further than I did, right? So if I was doing that as the anti-social real estate agent, right? But this wasn't when social media was the norm, right? I wasn't the IG girl and people finding me on IG. No, this was okay. How do I get my A team together? How do I, make sure that people are calling me? How do I make sure that the city is looking for me for this service or this project when they have all these other real estate agents and real estate brokers who were there? How do I, what marketing do I need to leave with developers? What marketing pieces do I need to have? Where, all of those kind of things. So that's what I put in the book. That's what's in the workbook. And that's what you'll read in that material. So again, want to definitely thank the 4 people who I mentioned at the beginning for voting. Your titles won. Not that there weren't other people who titles were. Some of you all, picked that title as well, but I had to, use the wheel of names in order to choose the 4 winners, right? So again, thank you all. And if I don't see or hear from you guys, please make sure you get the book. I'll definitely put it in the info. You'll hear more about it. And trust me, all year long, I'll be talking about excerpts from this book and bringing on guests on the Auntie Said So podcast and, highlighting things in the book. I think this is the time that we really need to dig in and show other real estate professionals out there what's really happening because that traditional, we're going to go get you 12 hours or 16 hours of continuing ed. You're going to, sign up on MLS. You're going to put the sign in the yard. Like everybody's doing that, right? So what else is out there? How did we create $1 million? How did we make our first million on our own portfolios? How did that happen? How did we close all of these transactions working with these different entities and people? And how in the world did you do it? This is, the time for us to dig in for this next year and kind of show you some of those things, while, you guys join me on some of the other work we're working on. So again, I am Tameka Bryant, your favorite international auntie, and I'll see you guys around. So I'll see you again, what is it? At the top or from the top? Bye bye now.